Hey everybody, Mark Z from Mark Z Drums. Thank you for checking out my video. Today I want to talk about the rock beat, the basic simple rock beat. I put up a video recently about the 4 steps to playing a basic rock beat. When you play a basic rock beat, it's bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat. So the 4 basic steps are: number 1, bass drum, hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself, snare drum, hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself. If you learn those 4 steps and you make sure you're hitting your bass drum and hi-hat exactly the same time, make sure you're hitting your snare drum, hi-hat exactly the same time, and you keep those 4 hits nice and even, you're going to be playing a rock beat. All you have to do at that point is repeat it over and over and over and over again for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long the song is. You could play songs like Back in Black by AC/DC. Another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. You can do some really cool classic rock tunes just using this simple rock beat. Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. Now these songs will have varying speeds, so it's going to be important that once you get the drum beat down evenly, that you start to work towards increasing your speed so that you can play a larger assortment of songs. So let's talk about the count of the basic rock beat. I showed you the 4 basic steps: bass drum, hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself, snare drum, hi-hat together, hi-hat by itself. Let me show you real quick. I'll play the rock beat at a medium speed, and I'll show you that the hi-hat is getting a constant rhythm, while the bass drum and the snare drum are coming in syncopated. Here is the count for the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so if we know that we're playing those counts on the hi-hat, it'll be much easier for us to plug in the bass drum and the snare drum as needed. We're going to play the bass drum on the 1, we're going to play the snare drum on the 2, we're going to play the bass drum on the 3, and we're going to play the snare drum again on the 4. Let's try it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now you see how the bass drum fits in on the 1 and the 3 of the count, the snare drum fits in on the 2 and the 4 of the count, and all the ands that I'm counting are the hi-hats by themselves. You can take that and run with it and increase your speed as you get more comfortable, making sure you're playing it even always at an even, steady tempo. That's great. And you can go ahead and learn how to play songs just from that. What I want to do is I want to kind of break it down for you a little bit more as far as how we count. So this way, when we start to plug in different bass drums in different parts of the beat, we understand what we're doing and how it's supposed to sound. Let's put a bass drum on the 1 and the end of 1. Let's put a bass drum on the 3 and the end of 3. What does that sound like? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 boom, boom, pop, boom, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. Okay? So it's important to count out loud when we're playing these rock beats, especially when you're just getting started and you're just learning, because counting out loud anchors us. We can count in our head, but we're thinking about so many other things that we can easily stop counting in our heads and forget to count and lose the count. Counting out loud really anchors us. It's another physical way to keep us in time, on time, and knowing where we are in the beat. When I say knowing where we are in the beat, I'm talking about, are we at the 1? Are we at the 3? Are we at the 4? Are we at the end of 2? Where are we in the beat? So once we know that, we know whether we have to put a bass drum with the hi-hat, a snare drum with the hi-hat, or whatever. Okay? So counting out loud is super important. So make sure you do that. Get used to it. Get comfortable with it. You'll only have to count out loud when we're learning new things, When you get to the point where you're very comfortable with your time, you won't have to be counting out loud as much. Some songs are varied in the way the beat goes. It doesn't stay the same throughout the song. So we might start out with 1 and the and of 1 on the bass drum and only the 3 on the bass drum. Like this. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or the opposite, starting on only the 1 on the bass drum and then playing the 3 and the and of 3 on the next bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let me try another one for you. We're going to do, let's see, the bass drum on the 1, the bass drum on the and of 2, the bass drum on the 3, and the bass drum on the and of 4. Okay? So the and of 2 comes right after the snare drum. The and of 4 comes right after the second snare drum. All right, let's try that. What's up, bud? Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Was that even what I said? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There you go. So I just described a different placement for a couple of those bass drums, and we have a whole new beat, which sounds pretty cool. So again, bass drum on the 1, the and of 2, the 3, and the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There you go. So experiment with that. Play around with that. Move your bass drums around to different parts of the beat using the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now we have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4 different beats that we can play. And all we're doing is we're adding an extra bass drum here and there in different spots. So we're doing eighth notes on the hi-hat, we're doing quarter notes on the bass drum, quarter notes on the snare drum. As we move along, we're going to be moving the bass drum and even sometimes the snare drum between all of those eighth notes that we play on the hi-hat. And that's going to give us a huge array of different beats that we can play. So I hope you liked my video. If you liked what you saw, click the like button. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, click subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell. This way, whenever I put up new videos, you'll be the first to know. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments section below, and I'll be glad to answer any question that I can for you. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.